If you woke up this morning, you will realize that Dean Ambrose is dead and Jon Moxley broke the internet. Also, Bill Goldberg could not resist that sweet Saudi money, and Brock Lesnar apparently is retiring from MMA and gave notice to Vince McMahon that he's done with the WWE. All this plus so much more right here on Off the Script.
Delete this man.
Alive with it. People still did. If you guys were falling asleep during SmackDown Live and on into the early hours of the morning last night, you will have seen Dean Ambrose was officially killed. I'm not saying Dean Ambrose is never going to return to the WWE. I am strictly talking about the now. Dean Ambrose is dead. Dean Ambrose is in the past. Welcome, Jon Moxley, back into the professional wrestling world. Within 1 minute and 30 seconds, Jon Moxley got everybody talking to a point where the internet was breaking in the early hours of the morning. We are going to go over everything that was in his reveal trailer to his return to pro wrestling, and I'm going to break it down for you right here on the podcast. Brock Lesnar retires from the UFC. Dana White said officially last night that Brock Lesnar is retired as far as he's concerned, and Brock Lesnar already gave warning to Vince McMahon that WrestleMania 36 will more than likely be his last WrestleMania with the company. Also, Bill Goldberg could not resist that sweet Saudi money. I don't know if you care. I certainly don't. I am not interested in anything regarding Jeddah, the next Saudi show, or Bill Goldberg returning to pro wrestling. So there you go. We're going to go over that and why Bill Goldberg is probably going to remain with the WWE for the foreseeable future right here on the podcast, man. Thank you guys so very much for joining me. I am JD. Please hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. I really, really appreciate all of your supports. JD from NY206 on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you guys follow me on social media, live tweeting during Raw, SmackDown, NXT, all monthly pay-per-view specials. And if you just want to be updated on the channel and when I go live with a new video, man, Twitter is the place to be. If you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, patreon.com/JD from NY206. Thank you so very much. Optional. It's completely optional, but it's the only way to get exclusive content not available on YouTube. You get all the audio versions of all my podcasts during the week that do not go live on Podbean, iTunes, or Spotify. Also, I uploaded my brother's 11-minute instrumental for my patrons only. Other than that, you got to pay for it. But everybody that is subscribed to my Patreon page, you guys got my brother's new music. 11 minutes of a beautiful instrumental he wrote. Unbelievable stuff. People were already commenting on it today on the Patreon page. All available for you guys right there. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. If you guys missed anything that I've previously uploaded on the channel, including Off the Script, this past weekend we talk about the Bray Wyatt situation. How WWE could have possibly killed the gimmick off before it even got started. Becky No Belts is more like it after Money in the Bank. Tony Atlas says WWE doesn't need Sasha Banks, and we talk about Money in the Bank in itself. And then Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live, obviously. AJ Styles implies that he's got a certain quote-unquote club to watch his back against Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank. And then Monday Night Raw. We talked about Monday Night Raw and the lowest non-holiday rating ever for the company. And then you watch SmackDown Live, and then you ask yourself, why are the ratings so low? Just watch SmackDown Live. It's not that difficult to figure out, so we talk about that and everything that happened on SmackDown Live. Go and check all that stuff out. If you did miss it, links are in the annotation, that little eye in the top right corner of the screen. Make sure you guys check out my sponsor, man, Audible, audibletrial.com/offthescript. They are officially sponsoring this podcast today. All you have to do is the following, man. Listen to me, you're going to get something for free. Download the Audible app on iTunes or Google Play. So that's an iPhone or Android device. Whichever one you got, it's free to download. Then you're going to go through the sign-up process at audibletrial.com/offthescript. You're not going to be billed. You're going to be able to get 30 days free of Audible service and get it for free, like I said. Absolutely no charge to you whatsoever. Then Audible's going to say thank you and give you the option of a free audiobook of your choice. And you have 200,000 choices to choose from, a lot of which are wrestling related. Here's the best part. If you feel after signing up that Audible is not for you and you just want to simply support the podcast, you can cancel your subscription at any time within the 30 days. You will not be billed, and you still get to keep your audiobook for free. Again, support the podcast by simply just listening to me today. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Man, this is something that I could not wait till Friday to talk about. I needed to talk about this immediately while it's fresh on everybody's heads. Dean Ambrose is no more. Dean Ambrose is dead. Welcome Jon Moxley back to the world of professional wrestling. Wherever this man lands, it is going to be a major deal. It's going to be a major situation. It pains me to see, and it pains me to know, how stupid a lot of the people in the community really are. Everywhere I looked this morning while doing my usual work, getting my podcast ready for the weekend, and getting this particular show ready today for you guys, it pains me to see how stupid people really are. All I seen this morning was, oh, well, this doesn't really signify anything. As far as I'm concerned, this is Dean Ambrose, aka Jon Moxley, returning to the WWE under a new alias. This is Dean Ambrose, Jonathan Good, Jon Moxley, getting ready to surprise WWE with his new gimmick, his new character, and his return by SummerSlam. I don't know if people actually watched the fucking trailer, but that was not a WWE production. It was not. Now, you watch it, and you could understand that by the first 30 seconds. There are guns, there are barbed wire, there are a lot of symbolic scenes in that actually poke fun at WWE. There's blood, and it's not Dean Ambrose. It's Jon Moxley, folks. WWE owns Dean Ambrose. WWE will not abandon their gimmick and their copyright for Jon Moxley. They don't own the right to Jon Moxley. Why would they drop Dean Ambrose for Jon Moxley? Doesn't make sense. Just look at what WWE did on television. Why would they treat Dean Ambrose in such a way and then magically bring him back under a new alias? Are we supposed to forget how you treated him for the last 2 months? Are we supposed to forget how you treated him for the last 2 years? It's not his return to the WWE. It's as if these people have this mentality, these delusions of grandeur. And whatever they fantasize, they believe is going to become a reality. Watch the fucking video. You will see it's not a WWE production. It also does not signify his debut in AEW. For everybody posting that little gif of Cody doing the fucking ear thing, and everybody posting pictures of Cody doing the hand gesture, this does not signify anything with Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, Jonathan Good going to All Elite Wrestling. Now, I would have marked the fuck out if at the end of it, the Mox, because at the end of it, it says Mox, M-O-X, in big silver letters with a red background. If I seen the word Mox turn into AEW, I would have marked the fuck out. I think the internet would have been shattered beyond repair if that was the case. And then Vince McMahon somewhere in Stamford, Connecticut would have been having a heart attack. It does not signify his return to the WWE under a new alias, and it doesn't mean that he's debuting at Double or Nothing. Now, AEW's Double or Nothing event is coming up on May 25th. 2-5. Okay? This month. I will be in Vegas. I will be there. News on that in a week or two. I'll let you guys know. Now, Jon Moxley is back after Dean Ambrose said goodbye to the WWE. He released this unbelievable movie-like trailer on social media using the Jon Moxley Twitter account, which is following nobody. Dean Ambrose didn't even touch social media while in the WWE. Days after his exit from the WWE, he's back on social media, and the video, as I look at it now, has 1.4 million views. This thing's got over like 30,000, 40,000 likes. He seriously made a dent in social media last night and early this morning. 1.4 million views and counting. You're waking up to seeing this video, asking yourself, what the fuck is this? Dean Ambrose, single-handedly, within a minute and a half, got just as much views on this one video than all of Monday Night Raw in the third hour. Imagine that. Dean Ambrose, with this one video, showed more charisma, more attitude, more character than he has shown in 5 years in WWE. That is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Jon Moxley is back. Dean Ambrose is gone from the WWE. This hype video, this movie-like trailer on Twitter is proclaiming his return to the independent scene. In this hype video, he is breaking out of prison. I documented it. I watched it over several different times. I'm going to break it down for you right now. The beginning of the video, I wish I could show it, but I don't want to risk any copyright because I don't own the right to the footage. So I'm going to go over it. You guys can go find it. Go look up Jon Moxley. It's all over social media. The beginning of the video shows Moxley, Ambrose, sitting in a jail cell, patiently waiting. He's sitting down, then he gets up and he's walking around. He's very frustrated. He's growing impatient. And he starts looking at the wall. Now, clearly, the jail cell is very symbolic of WWE. Dean Ambrose felt contained. The jail cell is WWE. Dean Ambrose being there as Jon Moxley, his creativity is being contained. That's the symbolic nature of that. So, for everybody that's saying, oh, it's his return to WWE, the jail cell in this video is WWE. He starts looking at the wall and starts to smash his way out of the jail cell with the force of him smashing against the wall trying to escape. The rest of the facility starts to crumble down. You see two guards with guns, by the way, also not a WWE production because WWE would never allow guns to be shown in a promo. There's two men wearing black. I don't know if that is symbolic of Reigns and Rollins, but Dean Ambrose smashing against the wall. You start to see, little pieces of the ceiling start falling down in front of the security guards just guarding the jail cell area. I don't know if that is symbolic of WWE's walls crumbling down, but I put that in the notes here. The rest of the facility feels like it is crumbling, and the security guards looking up to see the ceiling start to cave in on them. Dean Ambrose escapes. He runs away and is being chased by a very menacing-looking Rottweiler, which I'm assuming is symbolic of Roman Reigns. It could be interpreted as Roman Reigns, meaning that with this dog chasing him, not even the big dog could keep him imprisoned in the WWE. Now, clearly, dogs, jail, riot police, yeah, they go hand in hand, but the fact that they picked the big dog here in this scene is definitely symbolic of Roman Reigns. Not even Roman could contain Jon Moxley. He jumps the fence. He gets his hand caught in the barbed wire that's above the fence. He got caught. He couldn't go anywhere. It stalled his escape very slightly, but he ends up pulling the barbed wire off and runs away. So he's got barbed wire wrapped around his hand, and he runs off. That was that. That was the first scene, the jail cell scene. Then, in the next sequence, he's shown in a ring training. Clearly, he's in a ring. He is going to be wrestling. All of the reports of him taking time off, sitting at home for 6 months, semi-retired, contemplating, resting, clearing his mind, and then coming back to the WWE were clearly all bullshit. Dean Ambrose will wrestle. We don't know when. We don't know where. This is the great thing about this. It is getting everybody talking, and we are now waiting patiently to see what he does next. Now, what's symbolic about this training scene? He's in the ring training. He's wearing shorts. He's got a big hoodie over his head. What's symbolic about this is the lighting here. Now, I don't know if this means anything at all. It could just be used as a way to make the scene look cooler because the colors pop. It gives the scene a certain ambiance. But the simple fact that the lighting here used was red and blue, I'm not sure if that's symbolic for Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. It could ultimately mean nothing. But the fact that I seen that the lights were red and blue could signify that it's Raw and SmackDown Live, being that Ambrose competed on both Raw and SmackDown Live. I believe the punching bags that he was actually training with were also red and blue in this scene. I couldn't see. I know I seen a red one, but I couldn't see what color the other one was. It looked black, it looked blue, but the color of the lighting in this scene really made it seem like it was blue. Then you get a mixture of scenes with a police vehicle being heard and the sound and sight of the police sirens and the lights going off. You don't see the lights itself, you see the hood of the police car. Now, this could be interpreted, and this could be, very symbolic of WWE and Vince McMahon looking for him as he's escaped, and they're looking to bring him back and send him back to prison, aka Raw. Now, in one of the final scenes, this is what got everybody talking more so than anything else that I previously mentioned. In one of the final scenes, he walks by the Viper Room, which is located in Los Angeles. I believe it's on Sunset Boulevard, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me on that if I am wrong. But the Viper Room, I know, is a hard rock heavy metal club in Los Angeles. And the logo of the Viper Room was clearly a snake. But the one thing that's got everybody talking are the two dice. You got one with 2 and one with 5. Now, I don't know what this means. I'm not going to jump the gun and say, yep, Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, Jonathan Good is going to All Elite Wrestling. This could have merely been done because, A, the logo looked fucking cool. Maybe Jonathan Good knows people who run the Viper Room. I don't know. Maybe the scene and the setting of that particular street in Los Angeles with the logo in the background looked menacing enough for what they were going with here. But it was done ultimately to get people talking. And that's exactly why they did it, with those numbers sticking out clear as day. Of course people are going to just relay that into, oh, well, Double or Nothing is happening on the 25th of May this month. The dice are reading 2-5. Is Dean Ambrose going to AEW? Is Jon Moxley going to show up at the end of the Kenny Omega-Chris Jericho match? It's got people talking. It's got people talking. Or maybe Dean Ambrose is going to be a part of a heavy metal act at the Viper Room this month. I don't know. Maybe he's going to play a guest spot on bass for some heavy metal act that's debuting at the Viper Room. I don't know. But it's got people talking. This was great. Within 1 minute and 30 seconds, Jon Moxley made himself look and sound and feel bigger than he's felt in WWE in the last 3-4 years. This is a great thing. I've told you this time and time and time again. Dean Ambrose was nothing in the WWE. Dean Ambrose was nothing more than a proverbial third wheel. He was never going to be on the level of a Seth Rollins or a Roman Reigns in the eyes of the fans and in the eyes of Vince McMahon. He was always the third wheel. If Dean Ambrose wants to be a bigger name than both of those guys, the only way that he could do that is if he left WWE and did it on his own, away from both of those guys. This is the best career move for Jonathan Good that could possibly exist right now. This is it. And I'm excited for where he goes. I'll be watching. I'll be paying close attention. And the most important thing I'm happy for him. Everybody deserves to be happy. Nobody should have their creativity stifled because of a mega corporation that refuses to listen to the fans' opinions. Nobody should have their creativity stifled because the company that he used to work for shits all over their fan base and doesn't appreciate the people watching the show. What they think is right and everybody else is wrong. Dean Ambrose has wanted to be out. His creativity was being stifled. His creativity was being imprisoned. Everything that you felt in this promo and seen in this promo is how Dean Ambrose feels. He's breaking out. He got you excited. This is all he wants. And he's going to be doing it with someone, somewhere, this year. And it's going to be a big fucking deal. Now, if I'm WWE on this Dean Ambrose thing, yeah, I'm pretty fucking upset. Because WWE and Roman Reigns, and I'm sure Seth Rollins and everybody that knows Dean Ambrose, tried to keep him in the WWE. How many people in the WWE who tried to keep Dean Ambrose there are really for the happiness of Dean Ambrose? You think Renee Young? You think Renee Young went to Dean Ambrose and said, please, honey, stay. I can't bear to see you away from the company. I'm going to miss you on the road. I don't know what I'm going to do without you. You know, I want you to stay. Please stay. That would be unfair for Jonathan Good to stay. That's unfair of everybody to be asking him to do something he clearly doesn't want to do. How many of those people had Dean Ambrose's best interests at heart? Did Roman Reigns have Dean Ambrose's best interest at heart to keep him in the WWE when he went out there and said, oh, don't worry, we'll take care of it. Dean's not going anywhere. Was Roman Reigns, was Joe Anoa'i in Dean Ambrose's best interest? Or did he have Dean Ambrose's best interest at heart? No, he didn't. If you wanted that man to stay imprisoned in WWE, then you did not care about Dean Ambrose, Jonathan Good, the human being. You didn't care for him at all. And WWE, I'm assuming they did everything possible to make sure he stayed. They offered him mega money. They offered him whatever the fuck he wanted because they knew that if he goes somewhere else, he's going to be a bigger star for it. It's not the day and age where if you leave WWE, oh, you can't survive without WWE. This is the end-all, be-all. This is their end game. It's not their end game anymore. There are other major players on the field. And WWE knows that. WWE didn't want Dean Ambrose to go to AEW because if he walks on into AEW, it's going to be a situation just like a Ty Dillinger. It's going to be a situation like a Luke Harper, Hideo Itami, and everybody else that they're scooping up, signing, extending contracts to, and people who are unhappy, they're offering contracts to stay, and when they don't, they're adding time on top of their contracts to keep them locked down and unhappy even more because they don't want anybody going to anybody else. WWE realizes if Jon Moxley shows up in AEW, he's going to be a bigger star than he was in WWE. He's not going to have Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins around him. And WWE, the most important thing, and I mentioned this with the Luke Harper situation, if Jon Moxley walks into AEW, they will see Jon Moxley booked the way that he should have been booked in WWE, and WWE will realize that we fucked up. WWE will be looked at as creative failures, and I hope all you fucking shield marks and casuals eat your fucking words. I'm not saying that he's going to show up in AEW. I hope he does. I'm not saying that he's going to be all elite. Not going to say he's going to be double or nothing in May in Las Vegas, even though he does live there, and it would be easy access for him to show up at the MGM Grand. Not saying any of that. I want to see two things happen here. Number one, I want to see all you shield marks and fucking hypocrites out there who love Dean Ambrose so much not support him because he goes to AEW. I know you will. And then when I say, who the fuck told you so, you're going to keep your fucking little mouth shut while your tears drip down your face and I have all your tears sitting here in a fucking nice cup sitting next to me as I drink it and hydrate myself over the fact that you were wrong and I was right for months. Number two, the other thing I want to have happen here is WWE to look at this situation and realize, well, we did everything we could. We threw all this money at Dean Ambrose. And normally, anybody else in the business would have taken this money to come along with us and be WWE, and Dean Ambrose did not. Dean Ambrose walked away from all the money that WWE had offered him. Why is that? Because money is not the most important aspect of a pro wrestler's career. Yeah, it's important, but you also want to be creatively satisfied as well. I don't know one fucking person who wants to sit around wasting their life away while being paid good, but not creatively feeling satisfied at all. I want WWE to look at this situation and be like, well, we offered Dean Ambrose all this money, and if this is a situation where he's going to walk away from this guaranteed money, is this really the way we should start going about everybody else? Just to throw money at them? I wish WWE would realize this, that if Dean Ambrose walked away from all this money, it's got to be something else that he's not happy with. I want them to realize that it's creative. Maybe we need to start creatively booking these guys in a situation that starts to make them feel good about where they are. WWE's not going to learn that lesson because they're a bunch of fucking thick-headed idiots. That is what I want. Ultimately, that's what I want. This situation is an easy fix. Why didn't Dean Ambrose stay with the WWE? It certainly wasn't money. It's either one of the two C's that Jim Ross usually says. If it ain't cash, it's creative. Hey, WWE, in this situation, it wasn't the money Dean Ambrose was being offered. It's the fucking creative. That's where your problem lies. You want everybody to be happy. You want everybody to stay. You want everybody to not go to AEW. Start booking your fucking shows correctly and start giving these guys the creativity that they want. Enough of this fucking childish garbage, this formulaic, stale garbage that we see on TV every fucking week that insults my intelligence, and then when I fucking complain, you complain that I complain, and you put me down as if I'm fucking nobody. And the fans as they're nobodies. I couldn't be more happier than fucking... I couldn't be more happy to see Jon Moxley just do what he did on Tuesday night. This is great. This is great. Will it teach WWE a lesson? Probably not. Because they don't give a fuck. But I hope somewhere, someone in that company realizes that, hey, Vince, it's not the cash. Maybe we should go a different route and start doing the creative a little bit better. I hope he shows up at AEW. I'm not saying that he will. Not saying that he will. But if he goes to AEW, you're going to see a different side of Jonathan Good that you've wished for in WWE. WWE is going to look foolish. You're going to look foolish. And AEW will have a fucking gold mine in this guy. Believe me. I couldn't be more happier to see this shit just unleashed on the internet last night. And it's going to be a great year for pro wrestling outside of WWE. While Dean Ambrose was being killed and Jon Moxley was being reborn, WWE figured, you know what? Well, we got all this shit going on. Let's throw some money at Bill Goldberg. Bill Goldberg is set for a WWE return in Saudi Arabia. I guess him being retired, quote unquote, semi-retired, by Brock Lesnar, losing the Universal Championship, having his son in the crowd, watching him wrestle there at WrestleMania and having this big comeback tour. I guess that wasn't enough for Mr. Bill Goldberg. WWE's 10-year partnership with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia will continue on June 7th, and they will be bringing several top names who rarely make appearances for the company in any other setting. WWE made the announcement this morning that the return to Saudi Arabia is coming on June 7th in Jeddah. They won't mention Saudi Arabia on TV because that's what they do. They confirmed many top stars, including The Undertaker, Goldberg, and Brock Lesnar. The Saudi General Sports Authority, in partnership with WWE, will host an event in King Abdullah Sports City Stadium in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia on Friday, June 7 at 8 p.m. their time, probably 12 p.m. our time Eastern that Friday. The event will feature WWE superstars Roman Reigns, The Undertaker, Kofi Kingston, Braun Strowman, Seth Rollins, Goldberg, AJ Styles, and Brock Lesnar, and will stream live on the WWE Network. Additional details on the event's matches, ticket availability and pricing, and regional broadcast information will be announced in the coming weeks. No other information about Goldberg is available. Other than that, he will be in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Nobody knows in what context he's going to be there, if he's wrestling or if he's wrestling who. he's going to be wrestling. It should also be noted that Roman Reigns is advertised for this show after he told the company that he didn't want to participate in Crown Jewel before his hiatus last year. Roman Reigns would have showed up in Saudi Arabia no matter what. If he was still able to compete on WWE television, he was going to be in Saudi Arabia. The only reason why he wasn't in Saudi Arabia was because he was filming a Netflix movie and a movie with his cousin, and he was doing Nickelodeon, and he was doing all this other shit. He wasn't out because of leukemia. He was getting treatment, which really wasn't all that big of a deal anyway. WWE really made it a big deal. But that's not the reason why he didn't go to Saudi Arabia. He had 3 or 4 or 5 different commitments, so he couldn't go. WWE had to tie up the loose ends with the Brock Lesnar storyline. He would have been in Saudi Arabia anyway. So don't give me that shit. If someone doesn't want to go the first time, they're not going to want to go the second time. You don't see Daniel Bryan going. You don't see Daniel Bryan going. You don't see John Cena going over there when he declined the first one. Give me a break. Roman Reigns is advertised, and he would have been at Crown Jewel, and the reason why he's going to be there is because of the money, and he doesn't have any other obligations now. He's free to do anything he wants in the WWE. Now, I'm not excited for this. I'm really not. This is not something that's going to make me jump out of my seat and watch this unnamed show to see the return of Bill Goldberg. I've seen enough of Bill Goldberg the last time we seen Goldberg in WWE. The question I have is, how many more nostalgia acts can WWE pull out of the fucking veteran cookie jar? Oh, Goldberg. Oh, John Cena. Oh, The Undertaker. Now, The Undertaker cookie is stale. It's hard as a fucking rock. The John Cena one is okay. It's okay. The Goldberg one is a little moist. That's the freshest of the bunch, because this is a new addition to the Saudi Arabian shows. But how many more can they pull out? You're not going to get Steve Austin over there. You're not going to get the fucking Rock over there. How many more aging veterans does WWE have in their cookie jar where they can promote these shows? The only one left is CM Punk. And CM Punk is not coming back to the WWE. Now, who does Goldberg wrestle? What does he do with Saudi Arabia? What does he do during this event? Well, I could see one of two things happening. One, I could see the WWE putting Goldberg in a match with Lars Sullivan. I could see WWE putting Goldberg in a match with The Undertaker, being that they had a nice little standoff in the Royal Rumble a couple of years ago when he was on his way to chasing Brock Lesnar. I could also see, and I give myself fucking nightmares just at this thought because I would not put it past WWE to actually do this. I could see Goldberg and Roman Reigns in a match at Saudi Arabia, this unnamed show. I could see the Battle of the Spears. Who's got the best spear? And then we got to be subjected to WWE television of them spearing their opponents, kind of showing off to one another. Guarantee you WWE could use Goldberg as a tag team partner for Roman Reigns on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live. I could see them teaming together against whomever on the roster, going at each other. Oh, you think I got a good spear? You know, let me see yours. And then they go back and forth having this spear contest. And then it ends in a battle of the spears. Who's got the best spear? Roman Reigns or Bill Goldberg? I think I just gave myself a fucking unknown disease just by describing that to you. Who cares? It's not that big of a deal. They request top talent. WWE gives them top talent. The top talent wants set amount of money. WWE certainly has set amount of money to give that top talent. There you go. Business was done. We got another aging veteran at this show who's going to be blown up in 3 minutes. And there you go. I could see Roman Reigns versus Goldberg. I could see The Undertaker versus Elias, being that they already planted the seed for that on the Raw after WrestleMania. This is fucking boring. This is not news to me. It's not. Who's excited for Bill Goldberg? Are you? I know I'm not. God knows what we're going to get in the build towards this unnamed Saudi Arabia show. WWE's having this show on June 7th. You think that they would cancel all other pay-per-views around that so that they could build specifically towards that? Of course not, because WWE feels in their fucking sick and demented mind that the more we give, the better. In fact, the more you give, the worse. WWE had canceled Backlash because it was too close to this unnamed Saudi show. Now WWE canceled Backlash and is replacing it with a new pay-per-view in the same month, 2 weeks following the Saudi show. So WWE, coming out of Money in the Bank, has got this show to build towards, which is great. And then, while they're building towards that, WWE has to build towards the next show at the same time. So while they're building towards this Saudi show, they're going to be building towards a new pay-per-view called WWE Stomping Grounds. Can you get any more lame than Stomping Grounds? Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus Christ. What was that pay-per-view called? Breaking Ground? What was it called? It was like a, back in the day, a battle of Raw and SmackDown. I forgot what it was called. I don't see it coming to my head right now, but it's that fucking lame. And listen, I don't give a fuck what they do with this Stomping Ground because Backlash has been some of the worst pay-per-views that WWE's put on in recent memory. So if it's better than any of the last couple of Backlashes, I will be okay with that, but I don't anticipate it being better than those two shows. Why? Because WWE's giving us too much at the same time. Again, while they're building towards June 7th, then they only have 2 weeks to build towards this Stomping Ground pay-per-view. So whatever you see at Saudi, you're probably going to get a rematch or 4 at Stomping Ground. Ridiculous. It's going to happen in the Tacoma Dome in Washington and is advertising Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns as the top match for the show. Already bored. It's already putting me to sleep, and we're not even in the fucking summer months yet. This lines up with what previously was advertised for the Backlash pay-per-view, so it appears to be the actual plan for June. Of course, the card is subject to change. They are also advertising a big 6-man tag team match for Monday Night Raw after the pay-per-view, which is also taking place at the Tacoma Dome. According to the ad, it will be AJ Styles teaming with Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman against, I will give you one fucking guess. I'll give you 5 seconds to guess who they are going to be paired up with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You named it. You guessed it. Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and Baron fucking Corbin. Stomping Grounds? I would rather you stomp me into the fucking ground than have to watch this shit again. Seriously. That is fucking pathetic. June 23rd, WWE Network. Who cares? Who fucking cares? 2 huge names reportedly expected for SmackDown Live's move to Fox Sports. Brad Shepard reported on the Oh You Didn't Know podcast that WWE is expecting The Undertaker and John Cena to be on SmackDown Live's debut on Fox. Not a huge surprise that WWE would want both of them to be part of the Blue Brand's big move, but don't expect to see either of them on WWE television every single week. He says, and I quote, John Cena and The Undertaker are both expected to be on the debut episode of SmackDown Live on Fox. No surprise that they're going to pull out all the big guns for Fox. WWE clearly needs to do something as far as ratings go because they're not bringing in viewers. And it's going to be even worse on Friday night. If you think Monday and Tuesday are bad, wait till you get to Friday and you continue giving us the same piss-poor quality product that you're giving us now on Friday night. No one's going to be watching. And who's to say Fox isn't going to be fucking royally pissed off by the time we even get to October, just based on what we're seeing now. WWE really needs to turn out a big rating because Fox certainly isn't going to stand for this after signing a huge lucrative deal with WWE. Only time will tell what happens with SmackDown as it moves to Fox, but The Undertaker and John Cena clearly will be there to boost interest in the show. Of course they're going to be there. Of course WWE is going to pull out the big guns for Fox. That would be like me asking a member of my fucking squad, you know, my best friend's having a bachelor party. Yeah, they're going to the strip club. That would be me asking, oh, are there going to be strippers at the bar? They're going to be strippers at the strip club? No, yeah, of course there is. It's called a strip club. There's girls scantily clad and or naked dancing on the stage, and you throw money at them. That would be like me going to a fucking baseball game. Are there going to be baseball players on the field? No shit! Is WWE going to bring out The Undertaker and John Cena on the debut episode of SmackDown Live? Of course, you fucking idiot! You fucking clown! My God, how does this shit make the fucking news? It's fucking ridiculous! The one move I want to see made is Vince McMahon in a fucking box somewhere. Get him out of there. We don't need him moving on to SmackDown Live in October, ruining the fucking show. In fact, I would be very interested to see what Vince McMahon does to change his tune when they move to Fox. Is he going to continue giving us the same piss poor fucking show on Fox? I want to see what Fox does in return. Maybe Fox will start taking out the whip. Or back in the day, you remember when your mother used to beat you with the fucking big wooden spoon? Slap Vince McMahon across the ass nice and fucking hard. You know, you don't want to listen to me, huh? You fucking asshole. Go to your room. Anyway. Couple more stories here and get the fuck out of here, man. Jesus Christ. You want the fucking content? You got content. Kurt Angle set to stay with the WWE for the next 5 years. I wonder why. By the way, this just came to me. This just dawned on me right now. I guarantee you, with the Bill Goldberg situation, he's not only signed for Saudi Arabia. Goldberg, I guarantee you, signed some sort of Legends deal for the WWE because WWE knows, I mean, they're offering fucking big money to absolutely everybody for the simple fact that they don't want them to go to AEW. I would not be surprised if Bill Goldberg signed a Legends deal because Bill Goldberg was that big name that followed All Elite Wrestling. The first day that they were announced, Bill Goldberg was the man who sat down legitimately in Tony Khan's office discussing business. Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone mentioned that AEW's got a big name ready for their TV debut that's got major TV presence. Guarantee you WWE signed Bill Goldberg to a Legends deal so that he can't do StarCast, so that he can't do any conventions, anything outside WWE, anything related to All Elite Wrestling. Guarantee you. I would be shocked if I don't hear a report on that. Anyway, Kurt Angle set to stay with the WWE for the next 5 years. You know he ain't doing anything outside WWE, just like The Undertaker. Earlier this month, Kurt Angle's new WWE contract will keep him with the company he signed in a backstage capacity. During an interview on the Wrestling Inc. podcast, Angle gave some more details on the length of his contract and his new role. He said he will be a producer and he will be doing some part-time work in front of the cameras. The deal will keep him in the WWE for at least 5 more years. He says, and I quote, "I'm going to do some part-time. If they need me in front of TV, maybe managerial, where I could be managing some wrestlers." Angle said, "I'm up for it." He also said and made it clear that he does not plan on wrestling again and his retirement is legit. Angle is going to be more valuable to the WWE with what he's got up here instead of what he's got in the ring. 5 years, keep him out of the ring for 5 years, and I'll be a happy fucking viewer. Finally, guys, Brock Lesnar. During SmackDown Live, news was breaking on Brock Lesnar, and it came from Ariel Helwani, and it quoted Dana White. According to Dana White is stating that Brock Lesnar is officially retired from what he's heard he's done with the UFC. Brock Lesnar will not be going back to the UFC, according to recent reports. This comes from Bleacher Report and Ariel Helwani. In fact, he is retired from the MMA. Brock Lesnar dropped the Universal title at WrestleMania 35 to Seth Rollins in the opening match. Some thought with his loss he would be going back to UFC to challenge Daniel Cormier for the UFC Heavyweight Championship, a fight that everyone has been highly anticipating. Now, if that doesn't happen, I am assuming he's going to go right back to fighting Stipe because Daniel Cormier wants to retire, and who knows what he wants to do. I know there were reports that Fox wants WWE to pick up Daniel Cormier as a correspondent for SmackDown Live when they move to Fox. I don't know how true that is, but Daniel Cormier and Stipe, according to my UFC friends, is the better match of the two, and they much rather see Stipe versus Daniel Cormier instead of Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Cormier. Ariel Helwani reports that not WWE, but UFC is moving on from Lesnar. They could always try some kind of Hail Mary, but UFC return for Brock Lesnar right now does not look likely. He says this, and I quote on Twitter, story coming from ESPN.com. Brock Lesnar's return is not likely anymore. UFC is moving on. Barring a last-minute Hail Mary, the dream is no more. End quote. On top of that, when asked about this, Dana White stated himself that Brock Lesnar, he was told that he was retired from MMA. It looks like Lesnar has lost a big bargaining chip in negotiations with the WWE. I don't think that's necessarily true because Brock Lesnar could tease he's going to All Elite Wrestling, and you know Vince McMahon is going to jump all over that like fucking flies on shit. He don't want Brock Lesnar showing up, confronting a Kenny Omega in All Elite Wrestling. So UFC really isn't used or could be used in a bargaining chip or in any bargaining way with Brock Lesnar. He's got All Elite Wrestling. They could simply tease going over there, and Vince McMahon's going to fucking have a fucking mild stroke. Now, Brad Shepard reports on the Oh You Didn't Know podcast that Brock Lesnar had a conversation with Vince McMahon this week where he indicated to Vince McMahon that he wants to retire from WWE next year as well. So he's lining up his future. MMA, done. WrestleMania 36, he wants to end his WWE run. According to ESPN, UFC President Dana White told him that Brock Lesnar, according to ESPN, they told Dana White that Brock Lesnar is retired from UFC. There is an even bigger story which hasn't been reported yet. Brock had a conversation with Vince McMahon over the weekend and wants to retire from WWE at WrestleMania 36. That's huge. End quote. Now, Brock Lesnar was confirmed to be working the upcoming WWE event in Saudi Arabia along with The Undertaker and Goldberg and Roman Reigns. If he sticks to a retirement plan, then that might not leave him with very many more opportunities to make that trip with the company if WrestleMania 36 is going to be his final match. There really isn't, if you're thinking about a retirement for Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 36, it's a big deal. That's a great selling point for WrestleMania. And with how Brock Lesnar has been booked, for the most part, he's been booked as a huge special attraction. If this is the retirement of one of the greatest of all time in WWE, Brock Lesnar, how many people in WWE legitimately could go about that honor and benefit from it? You've done literally everything. Reigns has beat him. Rollins has beat him. Cena, The Undertaker. There's not many people in that company legitimately who could take on Brock Lesnar and make it believable. This could be the perfect opportunity. Matt Riddle has said WrestleMania weekend that next year or any WrestleMania in the next coming years, he would love the opportunity to retire Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I find it incredibly convincing, and I find it to be unbelievable that he said that, and then literally a month and a half later, we're hearing that Brock Lesnar wants to retire at WrestleMania 36. There's only two people I could see retiring Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. One is Lars Sullivan, because Brock used to work very closely at the PC with Lars Sullivan, training him and guiding him. I could see that. Not really all that interesting to me or you, I'm sure, but I could definitely see it happening. Number two, Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle is a UFC guy. He came over from the UFC. He is legit in every sense of the word. If WWE and a lot of people find Matt Riddle to be a future of the company, if you want to make a legit star like that with barely any effort, if you want to build your company and get them ready for the future of this business, there's no better opportunity than Matt Riddle tapping out Brock Lesnar in the middle of that ring and putting Matt Riddle and Brock Lesnar in a program with Paul Heyman's fucking DNA all over it. Dude, I'm sold. I'm sold. That is going to make Matt Riddle a fucking star. If you don't know Matt Riddle, you're going to know Matt Riddle after he beats Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. It is absolutely something that is, if it's in discussion, if Lesnar is truly retiring, and we don't know if he's retiring, this could be all smoke and mirrors. Lesnar could be offered fucking triple the amount of money that he's making now to stay with the WWE for another 3 years. And who's Brock Lesnar to turn down that type of money? He's not. So this could all be just hearsay. This could all be just fucking fantasy. But if it does happen, Matt Riddle is the perfect opponent for Brock Lesnar. I'm getting out of here, guys. Thank you so very much for all of your support. Thank you so much for staying with me this long. I didn't want to go that long, but I had a lot to say. I always have a lot to say. Thank you so very much, man. Please hit that thumbs up. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button, like I said. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Make sure you guys go check out all the other videos that you've seen on the channel. If you missed them, link is in that little eye, that little annotation that you see in the top right corner of the screen. And go get your t-shirt, man. JD's Elites. Down in the description, bonfire.com, the exclusive home of JD's Elite, the #1 selling t-shirt for this podcast in history. Also, one of the best-selling t-shirts in the YWC, man. Thank you so very much for all your support. Hit that thumbs up, and I will see you all right back here for NXT. Talk to you later.